So back where I left off, you should make sure that when you share something, you know if you want them to have the power to edit or comment or simply view the document. So for when you're sharing documents in Google, you can give certain powers to the person you're sharing it with. Edit means they have basically equal power to you. They can change the document, they can delete words, they can add new words, they can rename the document. Comment, I don't know what all kinds of Google documents have the ability. For example, Google Doc is like Google or is like Microsoft's Word. I know that's the only one I know of that you can do the comment, and I'll show you what that means here. So for our example Google Doc we had made earlier, I can click share here, and this is how you share something, or one of the ways. And I click here, and under here it says, well, whoever I'm going to add to this share group is automatically going to get to edit this document. I can change that to comment, so now if I do comment, whoever I add here only has the right to comment this document, not to edit it. And if I change this here, whoever I add to this list will get to view it only, not get to comment or edit it. For all kinds of Google Docs, like the survey, the sheets, and folders in general, you can only, for the most part, just do edit or view, meaning that they can make changes to the document, or they can only look at the document. Now you'll see up here, get shareable link. This is for people who don't have Gmail and you want to send them a link to get the actual document to open up in their address bar. This is a thing that they added a few months ago, but when I click on that, now they will get a shareable link to it as well, and I can copy the link down here, and this is the view link. So you see that they have different links for different privileges, so you have to really be careful. When you send a link to somebody, they can copy and paste that link anywhere, and they have the ability to do whatever right you gave. So for example, if I go to edit, and now the shareable link, okay, this link here, when I share this with people, this link will give anyone who looks at this or who clicks on this hyperlink will automatically get to make editing privileges to my document. That's why if you're going to do a shareable link, I would strongly recommend doing just the view, but you have to make sure you're in view when you do this. It would be a lot nicer if everyone had Gmail, but that's just not the way it is, because with Gmail you can just send it as a view or add them in there, but when they don't have Gmail, it automatically gives them the link to whatever right or privilege you granted that person. Now, if you ever need to make changes to something, so for example, I can add someone here. So I will give her a view. So now they have this document and they can view it. But let's say I want to change it. Maybe I want them to do edit, or maybe I realized I gave someone edit and I don't want them to have edit capabilities. If I go down to advanced, I can see the list of everyone who's on here. So this person has view. Since this is a classroom, they have this added on there. This person has edit. So I can take this person off. I can change this person to edit. And I can make them the owner too. If they're the owner, then they are the person in charge of deleting this document. But edit, or I can change it to comment. So that if you had multiple people on this list, there would be a long list. You could scroll down and see everyone individually and what you've given them. So if you were worried you gave someone edit that you didn't want to, you would click on advanced to see exactly who has edit, who has comment, who has view. Whatever sharing you had done, whoever's been added to the share list will be on here if you don't want them added. So that's the nice thing about the advanced setting. If you want to make changes, you can. Now, some of you may be wondering, I've given someone an edit privilege. That means they can make changes to this. So they can go on here, and let's say this is an important document I didn't want changed, and they just accidentally deleted it, closed out of the thing, and there was no way to undo what they did. Well, that's the beauty of this Google Doc. Let's say they'd even made changes on there. Okay? You can go back in File, and this is for anything that is shared, or anything in general if you want to make changes yourself. See Revision History. Anytime someone makes a revision to it, you can see exactly what they changed, when they changed it, and you can even go back to ones that you liked previously, the original time you had created it, what it looked like. So I've only had this document made changes a few times, but you can see the first time I had it, on Tuesday, it was just blank. Now today, I'd added this and then deleted it and then added that. So they have that all there. If I wanted to go back to the original one, I can click Restore this revision. And I can see what changes were made if they're all made at once, but let's say this was the original document that you wanted it, the way you wanted it, you could just click Restore this revision. Because you have edit privileges, you can always change back to a previous state that you wanted it to be. So that's the nice thing about edit. You don't have to worry about people making changes that you don't want. The problem is when you make a lot of documents, you can't keep track of them. And when you can't keep track of them, you don't know if they've made changes on there or not. That's the whole problem with giving too many people edit privileges. You want to be able to trust the people and know that they know what they're doing in Google Documents if you're going to be giving them edit privileges. Otherwise, you may know they just know not to make changes. But if you know somebody doesn't know what they're doing and they may be sharing their edit privileges, maybe you want to revise giving that person the edit privileges and just give them view. I know that happened quite a bit in the adult diploma. When we had the share drive in the beginning, there were copies and copies of folders, and a lot of stuff became lost because too many people had edit privileges, and eventually they just cut down and weaned off too many people having edit privileges so that there was more organization with what was in there. Plus, things were created and people didn't even know it was there or where it was at. So that's the other problem with having too many people with edit privileges, is they start just assuming that they can edit, which they can, and not everyone agrees with the choices that they made or the organization that they chose. So that's a whole thing that you have to consider when you're giving edit privileges to people. So for the example of what I was talking about with sharing docs, that's the same with any kind of different document you choose, whether it's the Excel version or the survey or a PowerPoint. You open it, the share button's always on the top right like it was for the Google Doc. The only thing that's a little different is a folder. You can't open up a folder like you can. So you can only create folder in here, which is the second way to share something. If you want to create a shared folder, since this is already in a shared folder, it's automatically shared. But if you want to add people that aren't already on the shared list of the previous folder, which is a good thing to talk about, this Google Drive folder, it has people that are shared with. If I click share up here, it opens the share menu. I can give a link to the folder like I could with the Google Doc. I can go to advanced and see who I've shared this with. But let's say something inside of this shared folder I want to share with more people, like this folder. Then I can right click that, open share, and now in this folder I can click on advanced and see who I've shared this with, or I can just click on share and start adding people. Now you can make it a view only or an edit only for folders. There is no comment version of folder because, like I said, only Google Doc is the one I know of that has the added option of comment. So when you create a share folder, you can only organize it as one or the other. So that's a good thing to know. When you're creating a view only, which is what I would do when I'm creating a folder, is I would create a view only or change it to view only if you have already shared a folder, and then with specific documents in there, or when you go into the added privilege, for example, I'll just change this now to view only. So now everyone who's on my normal list will get the view only if I give this shareable link. But I can always add someone and give them the edit privileges. So if there's somebody else I want to help me, build up this folder, someone I trust, I can add that person to the share list for edit. But when it's just a regular view only folder, anyone who I give that shareable link to, they will only be able to view only. So that would be what I would suggest, is for most people only have view only and only have one or two people who are helping you build up the folder have the edit capabilities. And just like I shared with the folder here, you can also share any other document like that too. You don't have to open the document every time and click on the share button. You can just right click it, select share, or get shareable link. That's a new one I didn't even know was there before. But you can get the shareable link directly, and you can change it. This one says anyone can view. So when you get that share link, you want to pay attention. I wouldn't do the share link unless if you knew what you were doing. This one I'd already selected to can view only, so it's only going to give the can view share link. But when I select share, I can do more, like edit, view, comment. I can see in the advanced settings. So I wouldn't do the get shareable link until you've experimented a little more with sharing. And this concludes the part of the Google Drive tutorial.